Hi there, and thanks for tuning into this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. I decided to connect with an old friend and industry colleague of mine in Tuscany to find out a little bit about what's happening in Italy. Let's face it, they were one of the worst struck countries at the beginning of this pandemic, and in the meantime, things are starting to look up. So I'd like to introduce our Wheel and Anchor members to my good friend and colleague, Francesco Simonetti. He's based in Tuscany, Italy, and he's taking the time with me today to share with you a little bit about what's happening in Italy. Of course, we've heard a lot about at the beginning of the pandemic and how COVID affected particularly the northern parts of Italy. Hello, Francesco. How are you doing? How
Hi,
are
Gordon. I'm fine.
Good, good.
Nice to see you.
Tell us a little bit about what's happening in Italy now with the pandemic and with COVID.
Okay, so at the moment, Italy just reopened after a few months of being in a red zone, and everything looks come back to normal.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, most of the business reopened.
And
Yes.
so now it's people can travel to Italy from other countries in the EU at the moment now.
Yes, I'm at the moment now. I'm in Rome, and I can see a little bit of tourists around. I'm not 100% sure that every country can come inside without do any quarantine.
Right. I think it depends on where you're coming from, depending on how bad
Yes,
the pandemic is there. But at
yes,
least you can
but
travel around Italy now freely. Yes.
yes, yes, you can go through once you do. If you have to do any quarantine, once you finish, you can go through every region
Yeah,
freely.
fantastic. Okay, well, that's good news. And this has been a long story, not only in Italy but in all over Europe and all over the world. What have you seen has changed in regards to the businesses there, and in specifically in your town? And tell our members again, Francesco, where in Italy are you? And I'll put up a map here so people understand where it is that you are based in Tuscany.
Okay, so the village where I born is Cortona. Is very small town in province of Arezzo, on the border with Umbria. And at the moment, Cortona, everything reopen again, but many business didn't make it through the pandemic. So
Really?
yes, let's say maybe 20-30% of the business now are, I think, closed for long.
Wow. And so closed and maybe we'll never be able to reopen.
Maybe, yes, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly a dramatic impact. And so, how has that affected you? You and your father have some villas there in Tuscany. What's your plans? What's happening now?
Okay, so since last year in October, we didn't have any guests because we were locked in the house. So we took the occasion to renovate full all our villas from zero. Remake all the floor, all the wall, like from zero to a very nice house. And just now that the country is open again, the villa is ready.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Well,
Yes.
we're looking forward to come and visit. What would you say if for people coming to visit to your town? What do you think will be different when they come back to visit Tuscany? I mean, obviously, the scenery and the picturesque villages and so on are going to be the same, but life is going to be different now after COVID. What do you think the differences will be?
I think for tourists who come here, they will not really see a much change. The only thing what is changed now that you see people around with face mask.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yes, and maybe if they have been here and spend here maybe a few months, they maybe find some of the business where they've been, some restaurant or some bar, they may find them closed. But anyway, the most they open already.
But they most of it opened already. Okay, so that's good
Yes,
news.
yes.
And so, would you say what are people saying about the outlook for the future for tourism this summer and beyond? Is there optimism, or what are people thinking about?
So people are hoping that after all this lockdown, every person want to have a lot of holiday. So people is hoping that we like they're gonna be people around.
Exactly. So I get they're hoping that everybody's been locked up for so long that they're going to come first of all
Yeah,
to Tuscany.
exactly, exactly. This is
Fantastic.
the hoping. Yes.
And of course, we're planning a trip, one of our Wheel and Anchor liveaways to Tuscany next spring. And I'll be
Nice.
introducing that. We're going to be working together with Francesco in some of his beautifully new restored villas. Um,
Really
just
looking forward.
Yeah, exactly. What is special in your region, Francesco? I mean, what are a couple of the highlights? Why would we want to come and visit you in
Okay.
Cortona in Tuscany?
So I think one of the most special thing of Cortona and the small city around is the age of the things. Everything is very, very old and have a lot of history. And of course, all the food and most of the place where you go around, they have all them own products. And another thing is the nature. There is really a lot of different nature around my place, Cortona, Arezzo, and the border of Umbria.
Yeah, the rolling countryside in that part of Tuscany, as I recall, is just spectacular. And you shared with me a
Spectacular,
photo.
yes.
You shared with me a photo from your villa looking out over the vast.
Yes, it's like kilometer and kilometer of valley. That is Val di
Exactly.
Chiana.
And Cortona, like many of the villages in Tuscany, is like on a hill, right? So the
Yes,
town is on the
yes,
top, and you look out over the valley below.
yes, because that's old city that to defend them village they need to be sit on top of a hill.
Fantastic. And so one last thing, Francesco,
Yes.
before we sign off, what particular food or foods or drink for that matter is particularly famous in your part of Tuscany?
Okay, I can say the how to say the thing that is being hunted from the hunter. I
Okay.
think that yes, that's I think something very special what you find in my region for people who enjoy to eat meat, and there is also many kind of vegetable,
Yeah.
but mostly yes, the hunting thing.
So wild game, basically.
Yes, wild game, bird or big animal, and there is a very big culture of how to treat all this, how to make this food.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we're certainly looking forward to sample some, and thank you so much for taking a few minutes today for our newsletter to share what's happening in Tuscany. I certainly hope that things will continue to progress well.
Yes,
Yeah, and I hope that with some of our Wheel and Anchor members, we'll be able to come and visit you next spring in Tuscany on our Wheel and Anchor liveaway.
I very looking forward.
Terrific, Francesco. Thanks so much. I'm planning to travel back to Tuscany sometime this fall in anticipation of our Tuscany Liveaway program. When we polled you, our members, following our initial set of liveaways, there seemed to be a lot of interest in spending more time in Tuscany. And so we're just working on that program now. We're planning to go in April and perhaps again in October of next year. And I look forward to letting you know when we have the dates on that. In the meantime, coming up this week on Thursday, we have our webinar about our Ultimate Nile program on a dahabia. That is a small, luxurious vessel with only 6 cabins on it, with a dedicated Egyptologist, Mohammed Yunus. In fact, he's going to be joining us for our webinar this coming Thursday. Don't miss that. Following that, a week later on the 20th of May, we're going to be presenting the first in our series of 5x5 programs. That's 5 nights in 5 different destinations. This one is going to be about Scandinavia and the Baltics. Don't forget to tune in for that. And 1 week following that, we'll be presenting our iconic Trans-Siberian Railway program for September of 2022. So lots in store for the next few weeks. Take care and stay healthy, and we'll catch up with you again very soon.